dude.
This shit's really fucking. If you go into the whole military aspect of this shit, there is so much insane fucking stuff.
Hang on. So I might lose you here for.
All right.
Please give a warm welcome to Phil Schneider.
I'll start from the beginning. I worked 17 years for the United States government as a geologist and aerospace engineer as well as a structural engineer. I carried a level 3 security clearance with a rhyolite factor. Rhyolite is a hardened factor, only given out to a handful of civilians and maybe a couple of hundred military men worldwide. I worked for Morrison Knudsen, Bechtel, Page & Page, Aerospatiale of France, EG&G. Co-invented methods of shape charge blasting as well as laser rock deflagration. I worked 11 years of the 17 years at Groom Lake, S4, S2. It's in the Nellis Air Force Base area. Let me give you a brief overview. Back in 1909, the U.S. Cavalry was engaged in catching some banditos that had crossed over the Mexican border into a place called Truth or Consequences, New Mexico. And they went into a cave and killed the so-called bandits, but what they found they couldn't explain. And they were called horseshoe craft at that time, or horseshoe ships. They were UFOs, and they saw these, what they called demons, gray demons all around the place. Now, in 1933, our government was actively engaged with the French and the English in aerial phenomena that were fully known about as early as 1935 or 36 by our U.S. Navy. Also, in 1946, we were engaged in atomic bomb tests, and there was a shallow underwater base at Bikini Island, and that was the one reason why a number of atomic bombs were exploded in that area rather than other areas where it could have been even more remote out in the South Pacific. My work as a geologist in building underground military bases, some of which are over 2 miles underground. Incidentally, I helped work on 13 notorious was Dulce in New Mexico in the Los Alamos laboratory regions where we built some hermetically sealed rooms that were very deep, going down over 1 mile. We also built additions onto Groom Lake and S2 and S4 complexes. They're called DUMBs. DUMB stands for Deep Underground Military Base. These underground bases are roughly over 3 of them per state. They average about 4¼ cubic miles hollowed out underground, an average depth of 5,700 feet underground. Each one of these military bases, by the way, these underground military bases, they cost somewhere between $17 and $26 billion. They employ 1,800 to 10,000 workers each. They gobble up over 1/4 of the black budget, or roughly $310 billion. We're being lied to at every turn and every corner. We're not being told the truth. Remember, what you're being told is only just a smattering of the truth. It's not the real truth. Maybe it's 5% of the truth. Maybe it's not even that. You can rest assured you're not getting much. Just imagine, if you're only being told 5% or less of the truth, that isn't very much to go on. I do ask you to go out and do your homework and keep doing it. Don't necessarily believe in what I'm saying, but get out there and talk to people. Whether it's just a couple of neighbors or friends or something, get out there and talk. Because 1 will tell 2 and 2 will tell 4, and then pretty soon you have a whole room full of people that are in the know. And then from there, wonders can work.
I like big butts and I cannot lie.
Oh, goddamn time. Jesus Christ. That's all fucking day, it seems. Wow.
I gotta set this down for a second. I'll be right back. In my face, I get one really phenomenal thing about these skeptics sites. These guys try and discredit everything, and they sometimes do deeper digging than we do. So I love going through their sites. Like, here's one, the 1884 Nebraska crash. A band of cowboys rounded up cattle in remote Dundee County, Nebraska. A blazing object streaked out of the sky and crashed some distance from them, leaving, according to contemporary newspaper accounts, fragments of cogwheels and other pieces of machinery. The light was so intense that it blinded one of the witnesses. I mean, what the fuck? It says it was 50 to 60 feet long, cylindrical, and about 10 or 12 feet in diameter.
Ooh, I did come out with some new information on that Needles crash from UFO Bros and Ryan Sprague's little set down. The UFO Bros dug some material up, some crash retrieval material from the Needles crash, or from the coordinates of the Needles crash, as they found. And Sprague says it looks a lot like some of the material that he had recovered from Roswell, maybe somewhere, or maybe it was from the same place. I don't know. But anyways, they had tested it all.
They believe it was from where?
It had all the characteristics of a piece of metal that had been in space.
I didn't realize that this had happened so long ago. This was like 11 years ago.
Probably the last known reported crash that I'm aware of.
Well, my list that I put up on your thread inside the cover, that curated list ended in I think the early 90s. But of course, I'm sure that the crashes continued. It's just I think people maybe the government did a better job of keeping that kind of shit quiet, because they started killing ufologists and researchers.
Right.
But anyway, so this one crash, it happened in May 14th, 2008. It was a cylinder, just like the one in fucking the 1800s, turquoise glow, and it was over Bullhead City. And the guy who saw it was a cop, Frank Costigan.
This is the Needles crash. Yeah.
It's just fascinating, dude.
Right.
Slams into the riverbank.
Right.
On the Colorado River.
I didn't realize Costigan was a cop, maybe, or maybe I did hear that and just overlooked that fucking detail.
So after the thing crashed in the river, or on the riverbank, these military helicopters kind of swooped in. And this is
from what I gather from UFO Bros and some of the people they interviewed, helicopters were apparently pursuing before the crash.
And that's common. That's real common. In fact, I'll play that the clip that I posted on your channel, the music behind it after here. Just real common. They seem to follow them around. By the way, if no one's ever been to UnitedNuclear.com, go to UnitedNuclear.com today. It is the fucking coolest website, and it's him and his brother, Bob Lazar and his brother. It's like a website where you can buy chemical supplies to do science experiments at home, or to build rockets, or just anything you can imagine. They have this crash. Tell me about it again.
This fucking Needles, California crash that happened back in 2008, in between the towns of Tupac and some fucking where else. I forgot where they said.
Hey, wait, go back for a second. Now, where? The towns between where?
Tupac.
What's the other town?
The actual location was Needles.
Okay. God, it's like sometimes I'll get really, really depressed, and then I'll hear some shit like this, and it just makes everything worth it.
So I wonder if there's a Biggie, New Jersey.
Oh God, wouldn't that be so fucking wonderful, dude?
Biggie was from? Was he from Jersey? Where the fuck was Biggie from? I think he was from Jersey or New York. All I know is there's like 2 Out videos online, and that's about all you can find anymore. And from the source I heard it from, apparently they've erased pretty much all the history from the internet. And Men in Black showed up. We're coming to tell you to shut the fuck up. Come and interview witnesses to find out what they knew and what they saw and all kinds of shit. A guy named River Bob, who lived out on a houseboat in the middle of the river, who witnessed and called into coast. He vanished.
Editor's note, with a guy who has a name like River Bob, it's not surprising that he went missing.
This dude was a resident of the fucking river. That's why he was called fucking River Bob. The people had named him. So.
Oh, Tupac. T-O-P-O-C-K.
There we go. So not named in memory of. That's kind of shitty. They really should name a place in memory of him.
I just changed your fucking name already, dude. It was a great man,